Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trek Before. This time, Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost. Yeah, we're going back to Milton. That's what Star Trek does. Deep Space Nine, Paradise Lost. Don't lose track of Paradise. Become a Patreon member. Is it Paradise? It might be. It costs less than Paradise. Become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/IABD. You get all the bonus stuff. You get our bonus episodes. You get our videos. You can see us. And there's bonus content there, baby. Find out, it's BTS stuff, behind the scenes. Yeah, I know the lingo, I think. If not, I'm using it anyway. Paradise Lost, and that's what we're talking about now. Paradise Lost, Deep Space Nine, It's All Been Trek Before.
Welcome out to another episode It's All Been Trek Before. The Skeleton Crew is back.
This is Stephen.
And Olivia James. We are here with part 2, which did not end with to be continued. So only a two-parter. Paradise Lost. First impressions.
We kind of touched on this at the end of the last episode that the part twos tend to be the lesser part, and I think we definitely had okay, we have to resolve to an extent. We have to resolve this episode, this pair of episodes. I wasn't super surprised, unfortunately, about that Leighton was behind things or whatever. I was a little surprised that, I don't know, it was kind of flashing lights like, Red Squad did this. Oh, this is what they did. So, but I mean, I thought that was all very laid out, very, for lack of a better term, I'm trying to think of, procedurally.
Yeah.
And I think it was effective and fine in that way. Set up the Cisco Leighton end of and then the ships squaring off. It was fine. It stayed in continuing what happened in the first episode. Part of this, but yeah, once again, it was like, oh, we had all this build up, and we got to resolve it, and it was fine.
First of all, I don't think I said next time at the end of last week's episode. Yeah. Next time was Paradise Lost. That's this episode.
Yeah.
When Starfleet institutes martial law to combat the changeling menace, Cisco begins to question if the Dominion is the real threat. That would have been a bit of a spoiler, so I'm kind of glad I didn't read it.
Yeah.
For your sake, anyway.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten that this ended up being an inside job. And I feel like I should have, because I was definitely pinging on Leighton in the last episode. I said, something's off. He's bothering me. He's awful. He's being a jerk where he shouldn't be. I didn't say that explicitly, but I definitely was like, yeah.
And Foxer was great at playing that kind of character.
He is. It's still sad, because... It feels like you always have to suspect the old friend of our main characters. And Cisco apparently has extraordinarily bad taste, because we already saw him side with, what's-his-face that joined the Maquis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Ben
about.
Casey.
Ben Casey. Yeah. That's the actor's name. Yeah. And honestly, that one was a little bit more... Bernie Casey is the actor's name. Yeah, he played Calvin Hudson.
Ben Casey's the doctor.
Cal Hudson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think Cal Hudson was a little bit more sympathetic, but I will say, for both of these old friends of Cisco's that are higher up, they both had sympathetic causes. They just went too far.
Yeah.
However, in Kirk's time, they didn't always have sympathetic causes. They would just go too far.
Yeah.
So I guess we're slight improvement.
Kirk's friends, started Nazi plans.
Cisco has a little bit better judgment than Kirk, but not fully better judgment. So, my first impression, it was definitely a step down. It was a Cisco-centric episode, which normally would excite me. But it dropped the politics. The president was still in it, but barely.
Yeah.
Susan Gibney was still in it, but barely. Joseph Sisko was still in it, but barely. Nog was still in it, but barely. So many of the elements we loved about the first part, they dropped in favor of Cisco and Odo hunt down the conspiracy.
Yeah.
And conspiracies are interesting, but for whatever reason, this didn't hit as hard and it landed as hard as the first. I wish they'd leaned more into the paranoia and made it less of a nuts and bolts conspiracy.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I know we always say, they've only got 45 minutes, but still, I'm with you. Yeah.
Well, and don't, if you're watching old Columbo or something, isn't what solves the problem for a protagonist usually comes from, something outside of the mystery? Like, they're having a personal conversation, and then this other thing dings, and then they go back in.
Yeah.
So if we'd had more conversations with like Joseph Sisko, and then he did something that caused Ben to go, oh, instead, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love that we had the conversation about Sisko's old crushes with his dad, but it didn't hit the way I wanted it to hit. It's not a terrible episode.
No,
but I definitely think we're going towards the bottom for season 4, which has been so strong. It was a big letdown after a stellar first episode. The fact that we put part 1 ahead of The Way of the Warrior ought to tell you just how awesome it was.
Yeah.
And this was more run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
This more would have fit in an earlier season before the show kicked it up another 6 notches. If this was a next-gen episode, I think we'd rank it higher in the season.
That's a good... Yeah.
For Deep Space Nine, it's going to go lower. It's going to go below the halfway point, I'm going to predict right now. Yeah. And next-gen, I can't think of a single season where it doesn't go above the halfway point.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have our Stephen Barron, Robert Hugh Wolf did the teleplay by, story by Ron D. Moore, so he got involved. He'll eventually take over the show, or be Stephen Barron's like right-hand man eventually at some point. No writer. It just says teleplay and story by.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess the teleplay by is probably the writers.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad they got Ron D. Moore in for this one. I think he's good. I just didn't land, and I don't blame Ron for it. It was directed by Reza Badiri, I believe. Badiri? I'm not sure. He did 6 episodes of Deep Space Nine, and this was his 6th. He did 5 last season. He did Civil Defense, Past Tense Part 1 and 2, Back on Earth, Life Support, and Visionary. So I'm sure we've talked about him before, even though I really don't remember him at all. He was mostly a director in the 70s, it looks like. Browsing his IMDb, Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, wow.
Get Smart, that sort of thing. So, yeah, this isn't his last credit, but most of his credits are additional crew, not as a director. He does have 91 directing credits, though, that go all the way up to 2006, including 1 episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, wow.
When we do It's All Been Buffy'd before. In the previously on, I noticed, and I did not notice when we were watching it, I assume because I was writing notes, at the very, very end when people were beaming down, that the horse was just standing in front of a building, and the driver was just sitting there with his head down, which to me looked like a still photograph they inserted the Starfleet people on top of. Yep. But apparently it's 4 days later is this episode. So, and the power has not been restored yet.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What about, and I also think like there's so much electricity like dependent. Do planes follow the sky?
I would think it'd be chaos.
Well, they said it was the power grid, not a EM pulse that would knock out everything.
True. That's true.
So you think there'd still be a lot of battery powered stuff working?
Yeah. I'm curious what the grid would look like. Apparently a lot better than it does now.
I don't know.
FYI, America.
I don't know. But yeah, to me I was like, and I get that the Starfleet sabotaged it.
Right.
But yeah, definitely some sabotage in this episode. But yeah, I just thought it took a little too long to get things going back.
Yeah, like we start off and we get into there's still some weird paranoia going on. And then we got D.I. Sisko, interrogating the Red Squad kid.
Columbo Sisko.
Yeah, and then he finally is like, oh yeah, here's what happened, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we were doing our job, man. He felt pretty good about it. Which, again, it's a thing we're into right now. And some things just never go out of style.
But now we've got other reasons.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more...
But to your point, yeah, we kind of get going, and it's like, all right, where are we going with this? And then...
Well, really early on, we get that Red Squad mystery that they were mobilized and demobilized. Or they were demobilized and remobilized.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, well, just make that record go away.
One of my 3 alternate episodes, and I know he got expelled, but Nicholas Arnaud had Tom Paris not joined the Voyager Robert Duncan McNeil not been a main character on Voyager. Wouldn't this be a great opportunity to bring back Nicholas Arnaud and say it was still Nova Squadron or whatever the group was called, and that he was still involved even though he was expelled?
Yeah.
Joe Sisko, and Jake come home from grocery shopping. I'm pretty sure it's Jake. And they have 2 giant bags of produce.
Yeah.
Is that all the produce from the restaurant for the day?
I don't think that's
First of
how
all,
it
do they
works.
go to the market every day?
Yeah.
That's not how restaurants work.
I don't think it is.
Second of all, even if you do go to the market every day, and I guess in this future world where it's all barter or just like if you want it, you get it or whatever, you probably have to know somebody that grows it because most people just replicate it. So I could see it being smaller quantities or whatever. But still, to run a restaurant that seemed as big and as busy as Joseph's is, you would need a supplier that's not just going to the market and bringing back a bag of groceries, right? I'm not wrong.
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, even just the trio, the celery, onion, and green pepper, they put in everything.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe you could fit that in the bags.
Yeah.
But you have other things, like
Correct.
tube grubs.
Yeah.
What type of produce do you
Right.
put with tube
Right.
grubs? We need to ask Nog. Odo, when Cisco makes the call about Red Squad, Odo's hiding off the side of the screen.
Yeah.
I think it was Bentine. Who's
Yeah.
barely in this episode. Didn't you
Yeah.
want more Susan Gibney?
Yeah, it was very disappointing that she just ended up.
She seems so interesting in the first episode.
Yeah.
This one, she's barely there.
She's just a lackey. Not even lackey. Lackey's not even the right word. She's just a.
Well, no, because she
she's
ends up...
sitting there not knowing better.
How
Sent out.
much does it suck that we don't get to see her make the decision to side against Leighton? We just hear off screen,
Yeah.
she's betrayed you.
Yeah.
Susan Gibney was done dirty.
She was. Yeah.
This was her 4th
I
episode of Star Trek. She deserved that.
I agree. I thought we'd get a lot more of her, and it was. Yeah.
I thought I remembered more Joseph. I thought Joseph got the short end, and he probably got more screen time than any guest star in this episode. But
Yeah.
this wasn't a strong episode for the guest stars. But I loved Odo hiding around the corner during the call of like, is this a secure line? Well, on my end it is, but he's hiding right there. That also does prove, and I already knew this wasn't in doubt, but it proves how much Cisco trusts Odo. That's like, be my second pair of ears, hide around the corner, you can get where I can't get, you can bring the proof to the president.
Yeah.
That's all good stuff. They tell Cisco to erase the call logs.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Like, immediately your heckles go up, and I don't know about you, but for me, as soon as they told him to erase the call, it all immediately fell apart, and I knew exactly what had happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt the same way. I was like, I know where we're going.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah.
So, Joe is now doing the blood test without caring. He's just like, whatever. And
Yeah.
Cisco's like, that's suspicious. He's like, no, now we're under martial law. So,
Yeah.
what do you
I liked he was like, what? It doesn't matter what I do. You're mad at me.
Well, it was also a good example of how circumstances change
That's
and you
true.
make different decisions.
True.
And as much as we believed in Joseph Cisco in part 1, we talked about it, that we were with him and we didn't dismiss his concerns. Also, under the right circumstances, the extra security is enough. When we have a global pandemic, you get the freaking vaccine.
Yeah.
No matter what your personal feelings are.
Right.
Here's where the freedom versus the good of the people kick in.
Yep.
Whereas before you knew there was a full threat, it's okay to resist. Once you know the threat is real because the power's been out,
Right.
you stop resisting. You get the vaccine
Yep.
or you do whatever. And Joseph Cisco is a reasonable man.
Yeah.
There was nothing in this episode that made me love him less than the first one. He just got less to do.
Yeah. And again, what you just said kind of points to what I touched on last week. Just the idea that they could have made Joseph Cisco this broad, I'm just working in my restaurant guy, and he actually, the sense that he's the guy calling out, like, this isn't right. And not, but also, like you just said, but also being sensible, seeing things changing and being like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, but also it's still not necessarily right what we're doing here.
So they could have. However,
Yeah.
they could have had it not been Brock Peters
Yeah.
and had he not been playing opposite Avery Brooks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't usually hear Avery Brooks being accused of overacting. But definitely there's parts of this episode and others where I could see... I'm not sure why that's not a charge, because he does overact. Similar
can see that.
to Shatner.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Shatner always overacted. Not in a bad way, though. For some reason, it feels authentic when he does it. I don't know. It's hard to articulate in words exactly what I mean.
But I know what you're saying, because there are times when he kicks it up where you're like, all right, Avery Brooks is cooking.
Right.
Whereas with Shatner, does that? Some people would say, oh, Shatner's doing his thing, but it's like, not necessarily. Yeah, I don't.
No, I love when Shatner does it too.
Especially when Shatner's on in a good way. When he's not having to prop up a third season episode.
Shatner's still my second favorite after Avery.
There you go.
Like, we'll have to.
Yeah.
I know Stranger Worlds isn't done yet.
Right.
Jeffrey Hunter is in contention in that top 3.
Yeah.
Those are my top 3 for sure right now.
I know for sure that right now.
Jeffrey Hunter, Avery Brooks, and William Shatner.
And
Holly Hunter might give him a run for her money from what I've seen just in the pilot.
I'm enjoying her. I was enjoying her up through the 3.5 episodes.
Okay. The one episode I've seen,
it almost makes me want her to see her. Well, no, I'll say no more.
Okay.
But
for the one episode I've seen, I think Holly Hunter might be up in the running, but as great as Kate Mulgrew is, she's 4th, and Patrick Stewart, who I worship as an individual, is 5th. Michael Burnham's going to be last no matter how many. Sorry, Sonequa Martin Green. I loved her in The Walking Dead. I just didn't like Michael Burnham.
I love Michael Burnham, the outlaw, and then as soon as they bring her in,
yes, when she wasn't Starfleet captain.
Yeah, when we're not sure about her.
Yes,
you're right. As soon as she becomes captain, it's like, she's fine, but
it's because she's not a good captain. When you rely on your boyfriend more than the crew, that's a crappy captain.
Well, in Saru, it might be the better captain.
So he is. Yeah. Not might be. Yeah. He is. Yeah. But Michael Burnham as the outlaw. Michael Burnham as the person who was right when the captain was wrong.
Yeah.
Even though I love Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Michael Burnham as the outlaw working with Book.
Yeah.
Also great.
Yeah.
Don't put her in the captain's chair. Also, I have a big soft spot for Mackenzie Calhoun. Calhoun. Which we've only existed on the pages of the novels.
Okay.
New Frontier.
Oh, yeah.
Love him. Yeah. But my point is, we got like Sisko and Shatner and Brooks and Shatner and Mount up here. Up here. Maybe Holly Hunter, we haven't seen enough. I can't judge her yet, but I think she's towards the top. Then we've got like Stewart and Mulgrew. I'd say
Mulgrew's right there for. I just enjoy Kate Mulgrew.
I think Mulgrew has already beat Stewart.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I will say First Contact is Stewart's best work of the whole franchise. And we haven't got to that yet, and I love him in that. But I do think Mulgrew overall has already convinced me she's going to be above Stewart.
Yeah.
As much as I love Stewart.
And me, then it might actually be recency bias of like, God, I don't know, it hasn't been that long since we watched a TNG movie, but
sure.
Maybe it has been. Maybe it's been about a year.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and then we got Prodigy's Captain Dahl.
Yeah.
Yeah, down lower. Yeah. And Lower Decks, I like Carol Freeman a lot, but I think she's down there.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's just, And then we got Scott Bakula, I'm sorry. I know you haven't got to him yet, but then Scott Bakula. Even though I am 100% in to Star Trek Archer that he's been pitching and trying to get...
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a West Wing type political drama. And focus on him as president of the Federation, not as a starship captain. I want that so much. Mm-hmm. And then Michael Burnham at the bottom. So, anyway, those are our...
That was a good quick run through.
Shatner, man. Shatner. Look,
everyone knows how
I grew up loving the movies.
Yeah.
I did not watch the original series through until this podcast, and I fell in love so hard. I knew there were good episodes. I'd seen a handful of episodes. I fell in love so hard with the original series and so hard with Shatner's performance. Wonderful. Yeah. The overacting is there, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time
it's overstated.
It's overstated. Most of the time he's killing it. Yeah. And even the times he chooses to do the overacting are generally justified.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, back to this. Noglov's Red Squadron, I really wish he had been part of Odo and Sisko uncovering the conspiracy.
Yeah. That would have been a
missed opportunity.
I agree.
That would have had to been 3 parts, though, because I don't know how you cut this one down.
That was my question. If this whole episode is more of we're uncovering and figuring out, and you can have a few more layers of that onion, and then that might be more interesting and adds to the 70s paranoia thriller kind of a thing. And then we get to the denouement.
So, Nicholas Sarno is my first alternate episode. I had 3. I'm going to add a 4th right now, but I want Blanc or whatever. I want Daniel Craig
Oh.
to go in and solve
Blanc.
this. Yes. Yeah. Sisko gives orders to... He gets really mean with Nog, where he's like, I order you to tell me who you talk to? You'd think at this point Nog deserves the benefit of the doubt. This goes back to my complaint last episode.
Yeah.
Of Sisko needs to give Nog a little more credit right now.
I agree, yeah.
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 Also, though, the Red Squad having the secret membership, you're like, oh, crap. This is all just crumbling under the weight. And unlike Nicholas Sarno, I don't blame the cadets in this instance. Yeah, when you have an admiral telling you special mission, I do think he picked people that would not put the ideals of Starfleet and the Federation first, which sucks and does not reflect well on them.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to see the cadet that stands up to him. The Michael Burnham that stands up to him.
Right.
But Sisko wrestles with his decision of, like, should I betray Leighton? And I'm glad we got a moment to see him conflicted about it, even though we know Sisko's great. Because he does have personal loyalty. But then Odo makes the point of, no, Starfleet betrayed you.
I thought that. I mean, I saw it coming, but I was like, yes, well said.
And Sisko's willing to put his career on the line to bring down Leighton, and good for him.
Yeah. When he just shows up like, we're doing this. Let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold the phase the whole time.
The line I wrote down was, willing to destroy Paradise in order to save it.
There you go.
And I do agree, Paradise has been lost, but Paradise was lost in the final moments of Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing in Part 2 changed that until the very end, where it kind of was restored in some... Yeah. It's never going to be restored fully. Mm-hmm. After 4 Days Without Power, we didn't get the impact of this, but there's no way the regular citizen goes back to life as normal.
Right.
They've been traumatized. They now know there's this threat.
Yeah.
And also, now you can't fully trust Starfleet, who was supposed to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want that story.
Yeah.
My second alternate episode was, let's get this whole episode from Ben Teen's perspective, because I do feel like Susan Gibney could pull off leading an episode where we, from her perspective, like, this whole mystery, we didn't need to see them uncover it. We didn't need to see them wrestle with it. We get enough of that kind of stuff for the rest of the series. If we just stuck with Susan Gibney being given orders by Leighton, then getting doubts from Sisko, and we're like, well, we love Sisko, but I don't know. I just think we could have done the whole episode from her perspective, and it would have been really cool.
It makes it a more dynamic episode if we're cutting from Defiant to the whatever that other ship was called.
The Lakota.
The Lacuna to,
so
Sisko and
you're talking about the climax of the showdown between Lakota and Defiant.
Yeah,
had we had that whole episode built up to that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Instead of just, we see a little bit, and we hear about it.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the investigation and see her trajectory.
Yeah. And I think it's a much more dynamic.
And her put in the spot of having to decide her loyalty.
That's a much more dynamic episode than what we got, which was kind of like A, B to B to C to D to E.
That is a top 3 episode of the season. That's like put up there with part... Yeah. If you reframe this whole thing through Ben Teen's perspective and have the mystery play out by little snippets she's hearing from Nog, from a cadet, from Sisko... And I know that leaves out your main cast, and we just did that with The Visitor. Right. But I still think that elevates it so much.
It's a much more interesting episode.
Yes.
We already know what they're up to.
Yes.
We don't know what they're... And
we already know Sisko's going to make the right decision. We don't know Ben Teen's going to make the right decision. Right. So let's focus on her.
Yeah.
And again, lesser actor, don't want it, don't care. Susan Gibney, give it to me.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. We got Respect My Authority, which we both said, just Cartman, Respect My Authority!
Yep.
They were sending back to... Sisko got ordered back to Deep Space Nine, which, of course, he was like, nope, I got vacation, which, again, is a trope of Star Trek. Yeah. Like, it's not unexpected, it's not groundbreaking, it's fine and satisfying. But, again, that's where I would have rather had the Ben Teen story.
Yep.
What did you think of the scene where the changeling sits down as O'Brien to talk to Sisko on the bench?
I caught on real fast.
Oh, obviously. He was super obvious about it.
Yeah.
Which, I think, credit to Cole Meany, he killed that scene.
That's where I was going exactly. It's like, I enjoyed Cole Meany getting to see him do that.
Let him do more interesting things.
Absolutely. That, to me, that was the fun part of that scene.
It justifies Cole Meany's whole move to Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
To me, what chilled me to the bone, it's one thing to have him pretend to be O'Brien and be like, there's only 4 of us on it. What if there were only 4 of us? Taking credit for the disaster was a whole different level because at that point, of course, he couldn't know that Sisko would figure it out. But that's a gamble because if Sisko figures it out, all of a sudden your threats become a lot more hollow. You're revealing you don't have the threat you have, which left us at the end of the episode going, okay, so the Dominion doesn't yet have a foothold on Earth. Yeah. Well, there's 4 or not. They're not there. So I think that was overplaying his hand. But it was where he's like, I'm O'Brien, let's get a pint and throw darts. Yeah. That chilled me. That's like, oh, crap, you have done your research on Sisko's main team. Like, you may not have Earth infiltrated, but you have Deep Space Nine infiltrated. And had this show been about Earth, doesn't mean much. Yeah. Because this show's about Deep Space Nine, Sisko's going back there, all of a sudden that carries over of Earth's not really under threat at this point. Deep Space Nine is. Yeah. You've got a number. Yeah. Yeah. And I told you at some point a main character will be replaced, and then like 6-8 episodes later we find out. Yeah. That to me sets that up of we're already watching your senior staff, we know what's going on.
Yeah, that's good.
And we can knock out your senior staff. Yeah, if they'd replaced O'Brien, he'd still throw darts and do flyboys.
This is true. Yes.
I will say, with 100% confirmation, O'Brien is not a changeling at this point in the series.
Okay, good to know.
Whether he will be down the road, I'm not going to say. But definitely not a changeling right now, except in that scene. That would be really weird if he was also, the other O'Brien was also a changeling. Yeah, the wrecking havoc thing, I was like, I don't feel the threat. I kind of wish that scene had happened before Sisko made the connection with Leighton and Red Squad, because it would have felt a lot more threatening, whereas it felt like a joke. Yeah. Because we knew it wasn't them. Yeah. Yeah. Sisko calls Kira on a Bjorn frequency. First of all, we didn't get enough of our DS9 crew. No. Loved bringing Kira back into it. Sure. Glad he trusts her enough. It really tells a lot about their relationship. Then Odo breaks into Starfleet headquarters thanks to Quark. Quark was the credit only. Only main character was credit only in this episode. But I'm glad he got that shout out. And I love that Odo has learned. We've all know that there's a two-way street in that relationship. And it's nice to see it pay off. Yeah. That it's not just Quark's a shady character. Yes. Leighton's plan involves moving all of his old officers into key positions except Sisko because he doesn't trust us. Are you telling me none of the other ones
question it
until Bentine later? Yeah. That to me is like not reflects positively Leighton.
Yeah, I guess it's, you know, and again, I hate to reflect too much on right now, except it does, but I guess it's that they all see that, they all agree that, well, this is a threat, we have to do whatever we have to do, but, and then how they answer that last part of that sentence is kind of...
Let me give a counterpoint, though. Yeah. Here's where the story all of a sudden makes sense for me. Picard. Again, not my top captain or whatever. But when the Borg are involved, that is his like blind spot. That is where his hubris really takes over. Yeah. You can't rely on his judgment. We've seen that before. We're going to see it again. And if it was a Borg threat instead of a Dominion threat, and the crew's scattered because Next Generation's over, and he calls Riker, Troy, Crusher, Geordi, Data, Worf, and tells them, we have to stop this threat. I'm moving you into a position to do so. Every one of them answers that call. Yeah. Yeah. So if we believe Leighton is on the level of Picard, and he has become obsessed with the Dominion the way Picard's obsessed with the Borg, I could see that playing out. So I was dismissing it, but now as I'm thinking it with the Picard parallel, I'm like, okay, I can see it. Yeah. If only we knew that Leighton had some experience with the Dominion the way Picard had experience with the Borg, that would play into that. Yep. But they didn't do that, so... Bentine has become a captain. We kind of previewed that last week. Yeah, because she's credited in part 2 as Captain Erica Bentine. And it's the 14th. They didn't mention it, but it's got to be a Tuesday, right? Well, Star Trek Generations, the beginning on the Enterprise B, everything was going to be installed on Tuesday. Oh, yeah. And I feel like other Star Treks brought up the Tuesday thing. Yeah. So I feel like the 14th has to be a Tuesday. Cisco is framed as a changeling.
Yeah.
How did Leighton fake it? That's never revealed.
That's what I was. I was absolutely curious about that.
That means they had to have captured a changeling.
Oh, that's a good point.
Leighton has to have captured a changeling. Which, if we'd seen a scene or two of him talking to a changeling in a cell, that changes this whole episode.
That's a good point.
And he's got this changeling in the cell, and he's ranting and raving to the changeling.
Because they never blood test Data, or not Data, Odo, right?
No, because you know he's going to come out changeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, to have that sample, he must have a changeling in the cell somewhere, and if we'd seen that, it would be a more powerful episode.
That's a good breakdown, because I had the same thought, like, when are they going to... My other thought was, how much blood are they taking out each time?
Just a tiny bit.
Like, if you're in good shape, you're going to get it back within, an hour or whatever. Your body will rebuild it. But,
Joseph Cisco, 3 hours.
Yeah, well, I was especially when they tested Cisco's that last time, I was like, that seems like a little more than a small amount. But
I just think when they blood test Cisco and they pull up the changeling, and he just stands there and lets them arrest him and take him to a cell.
Yeah.
Any other changeling would have immediately morphed and fled.
Right. Oh, that's a good point, too.
That's where I think, like, trying to convince the jailer, like, blood test me again.
Yeah.
And I know the other way they went with that was Odo was there and surprised him. But I think the lieutenant should have blood tested him again.
Yeah, because I thought Cisco's reaction was like, is this how we're going to do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a little thrown by the fact that Leighton came to saw Cisco and Leighton was still being nice to him.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you being nice at this point?
Yeah.
In the jailbreak, Odo does a nerve pinch, doesn't he?
Yes, he
Okay.
does. And I was trying to remember if he'd done it before.
I don't think so. But we know Odo doesn't use phasers, so it
This
makes
is
sense
true.
he would learn
Yeah.
the nerve pinch.
Yeah. And maybe I might be a little late, but I like the way that it's the slight change from last episode of anybody could be a changeling, a shapeshifter, to this episode is everybody's a shapeshifter, or at least everybody that I think is the enemy, that I want to make you think is the enemy, is a shapeshifter, which, we're seeing that played out over and over again in over the last our human history of these outsiders. They're the enemies, the media, they're the enemies, the foreigners, they're the enemies, and it's a very similar thing. People we don't know, or people that it's easy to, obviously the shapeshifter don't have any representation, and obviously they're bad people also.
Yeah.
The ones that we, other than Oda, that we know about. And which goes right, actually, and I'll just push these together, because then Leighton gets into talking about how much he values loyalty, which, as we know right now, that's a big deal with people in charge. A lot of people in charge right now. That's above any other quality you might possess. So it's a bummer to see that played out, but not wrong.
I thought it was very interesting that they ended up tying the wormhole's random opening into part of the conspiracy.
Yeah.
I said last week it's kind of messing with them.
Yeah.
Totally forgot that was part of it. And that just, it almost is too much. It's too neat.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That to me is like, okay, changelings are incidental in this two-part, which is true. It's all about Starfleet being paranoid.
Yeah. Yes.
So
I thought I did like the way that came in.
telling Susan Gibney that Defiant is staffed fully by shapeshifters, and she doesn't question it.
I mean, and that gets to your thing of like, well, man, if we got to hear what they talked about, but she didn't question it to his face, that's for sure. But obviously, I think behind the scenes, she's like, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Or off screen, I should say.
Sure.
Behind the scenes.
We get a shot of Defiant, and Kira's not in the command chair, which she would have been before this season.
Yeah, as Worf.
What did you think about that?
Yeah, that surprised me a little too. That was the
It
case.
did surprise me because I know.
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
It did me a little, and then it seemed like, and I guess there's not actually, it makes sense that Worf would be a little bit like, all right, I got to think about this. I think that's good to see, rather than all right, here's what we're doing. I think it's okay to take a couple seconds and be like, all right, I'm not sure about this. Okay, I thought about it. Let's do this. Yeah.
I think Worf was good captain in this moment. I think this is trying to pinpoint what Worf's role is in Deep Space Nine, and you got to think Kira's probably a little jealous and a little put out that she's now third in command instead of second. Yeah. I think on the station she is second in command. The way the structure seems to be to me, and I'm not sure if they ever say this explicitly, is Kira is second in command on the station. Worf is second in command on the Defiant. And they will send out the Defiant a number of times with Worf in command and Sisko staying behind. Like, the Defiant is kind of, I don't know. And you get why you'd always want a Starfleet officer in charge of the Defiant, because it's a Starfleet ship, and Kira is not a Starfleet officer.
That's true.
We get, because they had the Defiant for a whole year before Worf showed up, right?
Yeah.
Did we get Kira in command of the Defiant ever? I can't remember.
I think we did.
Did we?
I think we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that makes it even worse for Kira, that they're like, yeah, you were in command, but...
Yeah.
We're going to send... And Worf does... I mean, Jadzia's now Lieutenant Commander, but Worf hit Lieutenant Commander first. O'Brien's still non-commissioned. Bashir's still Lieutenant. So Worf is the second highest ranking Starfleet officer on the station. So... the Lakota was an Excelsior-class vessel. As much as I love seeing the Excelsior, always love it. It's a beautiful vessel. Don't you send her out on a ship that's not 75 years old? Supper.
Yeah, right.
I know they tried to we upgraded it.
Yeah.
But also, it's an Excelsior class. Yeah. You pick something new.
Yeah.
If they'd had the Enterprise E model ready to go, that we're about to meet the Sovereign class, I feel like that's the time to use the Sovereign class.
I did like the little battle scene. I thought it was from some different angles than we usually see.
Sure. Well, we talked about the director, so yeah.
And I like when, maybe I'm jumping a little here, when Sisko is related to casualties, his reaction I think is great of this was unnecessary.
Yeah, well, the Defiant had 2 deaths and 7 seriously injured.
Yeah,
and they talked about the Dakota had more.
Yeah, and I just thought his reaction, and just visually, Avery Brooks, I just thought delivered it very well. Of just this was unnecessary, and I do not feel good about this.
No,
I'm not happy about this.
Well, and this is why I would have liked to have seen Susan Gibney wrestle with it. Of you had officers die that you're responsible with, and that would be a great jarring moment. Am I making the right decision?
Yep.
Do I know for sure? We don't see how Worf convinces her.
Yeah.
But we know he does.
Yeah.
And I want that scene for Worf too. So I don't know.
My balance of terror moments.
Yeah, this episode could have really used the 53-minute running time of the original series versus the 42.
And again, I love my Robert Foxworth. I love him to death, and I think he's perfectly fine in the episode. I just think we needed to get out of that office.
Yeah. Anyway, Worf says that destroying the Lakota is not an option. A good show of how he is the Captain material, like Starfleet material, because a lot of lesser officers would have been just destroy the Lakota. Because at that point, Kira says it's them or us. And I get why Kira's attitude is that.
Yeah.
But Worf saying that's not an option.
Yeah.
That is Picard speaking through him and showing that he's grown into somebody great.
Yeah.
Which kills me even more when we'll get to Star Trek Picard. Learning what happens when Worf becomes a captain, hearing what that went like. There's some novels where Worf's the captain of the Enterprise E after Picard is no longer captain. But they do just one on-screen line that's like, can't you give... It's a joke. It's a throwaway joke. And I'm like, I want to see Worf being a real captain. Because I think he'd be good at it. And to just throw in a joke to make fun of him for his captainship, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Leighton resigns. I'm glad we don't have to go past that. That he's like, okay, you caught me. Here's my pips. Here's my badge.
Yeah. I did like that moment.
I also really liked Joseph Sisko telling Ben, I'm scared. This is a scary thing. Yeah. We shouldn't let it rule our lives, but I loved that. I thought that was really, really, really good.
Yeah, and is that when he gets into just essentially we just presume there are changelings at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Ben is saying, yeah, but we're not going to give up everything for them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That end was so solid. Yeah. If the whole episode had been that solid.
And I like they try to get the dad out of New Orleans, but
that's my last alternate episode is Joseph Sisko moves to the Promenade and opens a Cajun restaurant on Deep Space Nine or Creole restaurant on Deep Space Nine. Yeah,
that's actually part of my alternate episode. Is just the whole episode is just the Siskos, and I don't know who the guest is. Maybe Benteen Just them actually having dinner in the restaurant and just talking about galactic events and everything. And my dinner with the Ciscos, essentially.
From a stereotype and trope aspect, I'm glad Joseph didn't come back to the station and said Earth's home.
Yeah.
From I love Brooke Peters' aspect.
Yeah.
And from, like, I could see an easy setup of your health's failing, move to the station where I keep an eye on you, especially if Judith's like, I've done my turn, it's your turn.
Yeah.
They didn't go down that road, I'm glad they didn't. And yet at the same time, I miss that he didn't open up a restaurant next to Quark's.
That would have been
And
fun
also
too.
have some Joseph and Quark clashing.
Yeah.
Like, your thing's in front of mine, whatever.
I agree.
Are you ready to rank?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Who was your shady character in Paradise Lost?
I was real lazy on the shady and the annoying, but I just went with Leighton on both of them.
Okay. So not founder Leighton this time, but actual Leighton. I did go with Leighton on shady.
Yeah.
I did go with Leighton on shady because he was the shadowy figure behind everything.
Yeah.
But for annoyance, I went with... Oh, no, I went with him too.
Yes.
Yeah, never mind. I thought I had something different. I did not. We are both on the same page. Well, I don't think that's lazy. I think he is the most annoying character.
Yeah.
And making that whole episode so Cisco Leighton heavy, it's hard to give somebody else the chance to.
I was struggling to find somebody else.
Who are you having a drink with?
Cisco. Yeah.
Ben Cisco?
Yeah.
We are 3 for 3.
Yeah.
That's
I
mine
just
too.
think, like, man, let's bro it out.
We are having it at Cisco's Creole restaurant.
Absolutely.
Get a hurricane, have some jambalaya.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Some etouffee if that's on the menu.
Or
which I feel like it is.
What did Ben recommend? Shrimp something. Shrimp Creole. I think he said shrimp Creole.
Yeah.
Okay, sign me up. Whatever. I'll take
might-
whatever the recommendation is.
I might go and get some etouffee today. I'm really craving that right now.
Yeah, I was trying to think if I've ever had etouffee.
There's not Gallus, but Yats on Grandview Avenue has New Orleans type food.
That's a stew with shellfish, crawfish.
Yeah, you can get it different ways, but yeah, it's.
If I've had it with shrimp. I definitely have not eaten crawfish.
And Creole to go, GEAUX in the Arena District. They have really good fast casual New Orleans type food.
Okay.
And they have good etouffee.
See, I have not tried buying New Orleans outside of New Orleans.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Creole or Cajun. I just
and-
make it myself.
And people
It's
from
fine.
New Orleans would tell you whatever I'm talking about is garbage, you're probably right, but it's what I can get.
Yeah,
But I'm sure there's some other places in town that have.
absolutely. Ranking the episode. Let's start in the same place we started last week. Starship Down.
That is the Defiance attack.
Yeah, James Cromwell and
Oh,
Quark.
yeah.
Yeah, all that.
I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible episode. I still want to go below it.
Yeah,
I think
so
starting in the
too.
same space is fair, but we're going down.
I agree.
Below that's Rejoined. Dax and her past host.
Yeah.
We're still going down, right?
Yep. Yeah, because I like that episode.
A lot.
Yeah.
Below that's Indiscretion, where we find out about Ducat's half Bajor daughter Zayel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're still going down.
I think so too.
Call me Kesha, because we're going down.
Yeah.
I'm yelling timber. Below that's, we have a tie that we need Keith to break
Okay.
between Little Green Men, where the Ferengi are Roswell aliens,
Yep.
and Armand Bashir, the James Bond. We gotta go down again, don't we?
Too. I enjoyed both those episodes, and again, I didn't hate this episode.
No.
It just felt very like, well, we got to resolve this. And...
Well, below that, I think we're getting about where we need to be, is sort of Kalis.
Okay.
Kalis.
Yep.
And that's the other one we're bringing back, the old classic Klingon.
Yeah.
And yeah, Kor and Dax and Worf search for the fabled sword.
I think I might go above.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
Below that's Hippocratic Oath. I'm definitely going above Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put it above. I'm not going to fight it and make it a Keith thing.
Yeah.
We'll put it above.
Okay.
Sort of Kalis, but below Little Green Men / Armand Bashir.
Sounds good.
I think that's a good place.
Yep.
Believe it or not, that's third from the bottom.
Wow.
Can you believe the Hippocratic Oath is our bottom this season?
That's pretty good.
The Hippocratic Oath was a great episode.
Yeah.
We're 11 deep, and that's our worst episode.
It's like the conversation I was having last night with a couple. Yeah. I said we're on I'm really enjoying season 4. I mean, not that I didn't just I didn't like the other seasons, but we've talked about what a role this season's been.
Seasons 5, 6, 7 are at least as good as season 4.
Wow.
We don't have the slump
Yeah.
that like Next Gen and original series had towards the end.
We're gonna wrap up.
Like 4, 5, 6, 7 are all up there.
Yeah.
Like we may find a stinker here and there, but yeah, we're gonna be debating great episodes from here on out, which it's a good problem to have, right?
Oh yeah.
Next week, Star Trek Voyager prototype. B'Elanna gives aid to a failing automated device found adrift in space. After the repairs, the device recalls what its purpose was and carries it out. Ooh, it's an automaton, an android, basic android. I bet you can't wait to find out what happens. Until then, live long.
Unless you're a shapeshifter like the rest of us. And prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's got the time?